Daya, and in today's video we'll be discussing about the syllabus for the UGC NET paper 2. So you might be thinking that why there is a need for this video when you already have that syllabus on the UGC NTA official website. So I'll start with saying that the syllabus which you have on the official website, that is not enough if you have the goal to clear JRF. So that syllabus is quite brief or concise, I would say, but through my own experience I have compiled a complete syllabus which will be very helpful to you if you want to cover each and every topic and you don't want to miss on any of it. Okay, and additionally in the description of this video I will put a link for the important topics which I have come across, along with the weightage of the questions for each subject. Along with that, I will also put the concise syllabus which I'll be explaining here to you, so that you can use for it while you'll be starting with your preparation. So starting with the first subject, which is the business environment. So in the business environment you have concepts and elements of business environment, economic system, then you have the economic policies, monetary and fiscal policy. So they can ask you question regarding who framed the fiscal policy. So that is framed by the government. It is regarding the revenue and expenditure, the budget, okay, of the government, whereas the monetary policies are framed by the RBI, okay, and that is related to the circulation of money in the economy. So questions related to that how the RBI control the monetary policies, what are the instruments which it use, for example the open market operations. Okay, so they can ask you question related to that. They can ask you question related to reverse repo rate. They can ask you question related to repo rate. So like that kind of question can come. Then political environment, role of government in the business, that kind of question. Then legal environment, Consumer Protection Act, they can ask you even a question related to match the following, okay, that when was the Consumer Protection Act came, okay. Then they can ask you question related to FEMA. Then they can ask you question related to what was the what was before FEMA, okay, what was the organization, okay, was it FERA, or they can provide you other options, okay. They can even ask you when it was established, okay. Then socio-cultural factors. What are the socio-cultural factors? Then you might have studied in your business environment question related to factors, okay, which affect the environment for a business. So you might have studied micro factors, okay, and or you might have studied the macro factors, okay. So micro factors and then the macro factors you might have studied, okay. So micro include consumers, suppliers, macro include the technological factors, it includes the political factors. So that kind of question can come to you. Then what is the corporate social responsibility? How much percentage of a company's or a business profit should go for the corporate social responsibility activities, okay. That kind of questions can come to you. So in this the question related to economic policies, as I have already mentioned, is very important. Then also India's foreign trade policy, the question related to that can also come to you, okay. Then coming to next, which is business finance. So here I have already listed, okay, what are the scope and sources of finance, what is lease financing, okay. So what is operating lease and what is financing lease, a question related to that can come, okay. Then what is cost of capital, time value of money, okay. Then capital structure. Then one of the favorite topic is capital budgeting. So I would here mark that capital budgeting is very important, okay. Then dividend decision, question related to dividend decision can come, okay. They can ask you about the Modi, Gilani and Miller theory, proposition 1 and proposition 2, they can ask you about. Then they can even also ask you about the international monetary system, okay. This is also very important, okay. They can ask you about the GDRs, okay, the GDRs and the ADRs they can ask you about. Fine. So what is the global depository receipt? What is American depository receipt? Like those kind of question can come to you. Then what is business economics? Okay, so in the business economics subject, okay, the question related to the graphs can come. Okay, so the market structure is very important. For what is the perfect market. Okay, then the characteristic of perfect market, free entry and exit, question related to that. Monopolistic competition, okay, they can ask you about. They can ask you about what kind of products are there in the monopolistic competition, okay, whether they are homogeneous, whether they are differentiated, that kind of question can come to you. So those are very important. They can ask you about the equilibrium, okay, for a monopoly, okay, so that kind of question. Also you need to remember that the curves are very important. So you have already studied all these in your class 11th and 12th, okay, like TP, AP and MP curve, okay. Then they can ask you for example, phase 1 is IRS, phase 2 is CRS and phase 3 is DRS, okay. So when is the IRS factor end, okay, when the CRS factor end, what is the state of TP when the CRS factor happen, okay. So sorry, I marked so I marked on the wrong one. So they can ask you question related to that, okay. They can ask you question related to that. So you should keep in mind that all these can be asked to you, fine. And you should prepare all these graphs. So please do not think that because you are preparing for the objective type exam, so they cannot ask you question related to graph. They'll frame a question related to these. So these TP, AP, MP curves are very important. They can ask you what is point of inflection, okay. So the stage where the phase of the graph change from IRS to CRS, so here is the point of inflection. So question related to that can come, fine. Then coming across, for example, they can ask you about the TR, AR, okay, MR, okay. They can ask you about TC, AC, MC, okay, all that, marginal cost, average cost, and then the total cost, okay. So these are very important. Even I have mentioned those here: law of variable proportion, law of return to scale, all these kind of question. Then short run and long run cost curve, all these are very important. The most important thing here in business economics is the markets and their features and their graphs. These are very, very important, so do study them, okay. Then pricing strategies, these are very important. They ask a very common question related to what is skimming price and what is penetrating price, okay. Then coming to the next, which is business statistics and research method. This is very, very important because research method is also a part of your paper 1. And when you go for interviews for your PhD, that time they ask you numerous questions related to research, so that they can understand that, okay, you have a good knowledge, a good understanding of research, and you can work, okay, for them, okay, and write good research papers or write a good thesis, fine. So measures of central tendency, arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic, simple things, decile, percentiles, okay. So measure of central tendency, measures of location, as I mentioned, percentile, decile, all these are very important. What is skewness, what is kurtosis, what is normal distribution curve, what is binomial distribution, so all these are very, very important. They can not many questions related to, for example, Bayes theorem, but it is kind of important. You should know what it is, what kind of a conditional probability it is, okay. They can ask you. Then correlation and regression, that is very, very important. You should please keep this in mind, that they can ask you question, and definitely a question related to correlation and regression comes, okay. So if the two variables are moving in the same direction, what kind of a correlation is this? Is it positive, is it negative, or is it no correlation, okay. Then in regression they can ask you, for example, the curve, the graphs is very scattered, what kind of a correlation here it is, okay. So you will say that this is no correlation, okay, there is no correlation. Then for example, if the dots are going in the same direction, then it is a linear regression, okay, it's a linear correlation, okay. So these kind of question can come to you. Then coming to the research, okay, then one of the favorite questions they ask is related to what is the format for writing a research paper or for writing a thesis. So you should remember that firstly abstract, then introduction comes, then literature review comes, then research problem comes, then research gap comes. Okay, so like this you should remember that okay, this is the one by one step of writing a research paper or a thesis. A question related to that definitely comes. Then the question related to data collection, okay, this is very important. Fine. Then what are the methods to collect the data? What are the sampling methods? They ask you question. What are the probability sampling? They can throw one question related to, for example, let's say stratified sampling. Okay, what kind of a sampling is that? Okay, for example, they can ask you question to related to, let's say, snowball sampling. What kind of a sampling is that? Okay, then they can ask you question related to classification of data, whether it's a categorical data or whether it's a numerical data, whether it's qualitative, whether it's quantitative. That kind of question can come. Okay, then one of the most important in that is I would say is the measurement of scales. So you should remember what is ordinal scale, what is nominal scale. Okay, so what is the interval scale, and what is ratio scale. So you should remember that absolute zero is in ratio scale. So that kind of question. Order come in ordinal scale. There is no order in the nominal scale. It is just the classification of data. Okay, so like that. Okay, they can ask you question. For example, the names of students. So what kind of a data is that? So you should remember that that is a nominal data. So question related to that definitely comes. It's very important. Then types of error, type 1 error, type 2 error, okay, level of significance, power of test. All these questions they definitely ask you. Okay. Then even the Z test, T test, you should know. Okay, that the sample less than 30. Okay, then T test you should apply. Okay, if there is an unknown variance of the population, T test you should apply. For a normal distribution you should apply Z test. All these you should remember. Okay, it's very important, not just for your examination but later time being also, because if you will be even applying as an assistant professor, that time also it's required that you write research papers. Okay, so that is important. So for that purpose also, either you are going for PhD or either you are going to work as an assistant professor, research is going to be a part of your life. Then coming to business management and human resource management, this is very important, I would say. And here I would say that it's very, very important that you should know what is span of management. Okay, motivation and leadership theory is very, very important. Being a commerce student, we come across very well with the motivation theories, Maslow, Herzberg. Okay, all these theories we come across, Bloom's expectancy theory, but leadership theory we don't come across. So that's why I always recommend to students that when you are preparing for your commerce and you're buying Arihant or Truman for commerce, okay, do buy one book, either Arihant or either Truman for management also, and study your business management and your HRM from the management UGC NET book. Okay, the reference book which you are using, either use Arihant or either use Truman. I always recommend Truman more than Arihant. Okay, so I recommend that. Fine. So you can come, just go across the business management and HRM for this. And as I mentioned already, that motivation and leadership theories are very important. They can ask you who has framed the following leadership theory. They can ask you question related to that. Fine. Then for the HR, human resource management, okay, it's very important. You should know what is stress management, what is organization culture, what is 360-degree performance analysis. Okay, what are the different factors involved in the 360. Okay, who are the people? Okay, so it's done by your peers, it's done by your supervisor, it's done by your client. Okay, so all that you should remember. Then coming to marketing management is very important. You should know what are the types of buyer segmentation. You should know what is the product life cycle. Okay, you should know the P's. Okay, so it's very important, 4 P's, 5 P's. Okay, and you should know the marketing mix. I would write here also. Marketing mix is very important. Question related to that definitely come. Then Price positioning, very important. Okay, so do remember that. I'll even mention I have even already mentioned in the PDFs which I have made, okay, of important topics, that marketing mix very important. Okay, 5 P's of marketing is very important, so you should go across. And here I have already provided you a detailed syllabus, so I would put a disclaimer here that if you want to qualify your JRF, or if you want to qualify your even net in just first attempt, you should go through each and every topic mentioned here. It's very important. Please don't go just through the important topics. Those come, okay, but there are high chances of these also that they can also come, and they will come. Okay, so those are definitely going to come, but these are also important, and you should go across these also if you want to crack your JRF. Then financial institution and banking. Here you can get questions related to what are the types of financial market, what are the financial regulations in India, okay, NPA, okay, all these questions are very important. Okay, so you should go across, and this is quite easy, so you should remember what are the Basel norms, okay, what are capital market, what is money market, what is T-bills, okay, what are the certificates of deposits. All these you should remember, okay, because these are very important. You should know, and these are part of our life. Okay, finance is a part of our life. Okay, then coming to the legal aspects of business, this is very important, but I won't say that you go through each and every clause, you go through each and every section, but you should know what are the important points talked in every act. You should remember Sales of Goods Act 1930, okay, Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, Companies Act 2013. You should remember, because they will ask you question in the match the following regarding that. For example, Competition Act, they will write it 1968, 2002. So like that, they will put different years, and you have to mark, okay, that which is the correct match the following. Questions related to that, very important. So Competition Act, very important. Companies Act, Limited Liability Partnership. You should know what is the working of all of this. Then coming to what is international business. International business is very important. One of the very important thing in this is the economic integration. You can mark this. Question always come on this, economic integration. So as you might remember, you must have studied foreign trade agreement, you must have studied custom union, monetary union. So all these are very important. Please mark them. You should know. Okay, for example, NAFTA, okay, so North America's foreign trade agreement. That is a foreign trade agreement. That is an example of economic integration, a type of economic integration between Canada, US and Mexico. So you should know all that. Then ASEAN, SAARC, they can ask you question related to the objectives of SAARC. You should know that South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, what is the objective of that. Then the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, okay, so you should remember, okay, what are the objective of this. Then very important one is IMF, World Bank and UNACTAD, and also the WTO, okay. So IMF, when what it was framed, when under which system, Bretton Woods system, okay, so IMF, okay, World Bank, what are the different organization in World Bank, IBRD, IDA, okay, when were they framed, how many members are there in the IMF, how many members are there in World Bank, how many in IBRD, how many in IDA, what are the objectives of these organization, what is WTA, what was before WTA, GATT was there before WTA. So you should remember what is TRIPS, what is TRIMS. You should know the working of each and every one of them. Then balance of payment, I have not mentioned here. Balance of payment, very important. What is the capital account there, okay, what is the current account, what are the factors included in that. You should remember all this, and you should learn all this. What are the funds account, okay, so you should know what are sources, what are uses. All this you should remember. Then accounting and auditing. Then very important is accounting and auditing, okay. Economic order quantity, this question comes, okay, like the formula of economic order quantity is under root 2AO upon Q. So they can put a question related to that. Okay, then they can, for example, they can put a question related to 4 features of accounts. So you should remember the company's account. Okay, so in the 4 feature of account, okay, what are the number of shares which are considered? Okay, so all these you should remember, that the shares which are repurchased, what are those? Okay, what are the working of those? I'm not saying you that you should practice each and every question like you did in your class 12th, but you should know the working of it, like which account which account goes where, which account goes here or there, like that. You should know all that. Okay, then Indian accounting standard, very important, IFRS. Okay, so Indian accounting standard you should remember. For example, they can ask you what is IAS 31, what is AIS 32, like that. Okay, and then they'll put them in the match the following. So at least you should know at least 3 out of those 4. So I remember I myself have done a whole rote of it. I did a ratta of it, that okay, I have to remember each and every one of this. So you should know. Ratio analysis, very very important. Okay, what are the current ratios, what is the acid test ratio, what is quick ratio. Okay, so you should remember all that. Fine. Then profitability ratios. Okay, operating profit margin, gross profit margin, net profit margin, all these you should remember. Solvency ratio. Okay, total debt to equity ratio. Fine. So all this is very important and you should remember. Then they can ask you question related to auditing. Okay, so which one of the following is the traditional auditing? Is management auditing a traditional auditing? Okay, so you should remember. They can put that as an assertion and reasoning question. What is safety audit? Is it used for the risk management process in the company? So they can ask you questions related to that. And the last one is income tax and corporate planning. So in your syllabus, which is given to you on the UGC NTA website, there are only 10 subjects. Here I have mentioned 11. That's why I'm saying you that the syllabus provided there is not enough. That's why I have made a special video regarding this. Okay, because I myself face this issue that I thought that syllabus was enough, but when I started giving my mock and everything, then I came across that okay, this is not enough. I need to study more. Okay, and I need to I used to jot down that okay, what are the extra subject, what are the extra topics there which I need to study and which are not mentioned here. That's why I made this video. So income tax, very important. You should know what are the different factors of income, and you should at least solve one question, a very small initial question related to the how to calculate the total taxable income. Okay, so related to that, then deductions. What are the important deductions? Only that you should remember. I'm not saying that you should remember from 80C to 80U total all those, but you should remember like which one is related to national pension scheme. Okay, which one is related to when you buy a house, which one is related to when you buy a medical insurance. So the important ones you should remember. Okay, then HRA, the working of HRA is very important. You should remember that. Okay, then deductions, as I've already mentioned, very important. So make or buy decision, very important. Shut down or continue operation, this is very, and you will come across this when you'll be studying economics also. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that you should go across this, and I have already put them at the end in the description of my video, so you can go through those links and you will get the PDF of that. And I hope this video will be helpful to you for starting your preparation for your JRF journey. Thank you.